Welcome back to Life and Style. This Wednesday, we're talking matters relationship. We're on Talk to Pastor Chris. I have a panel of two, Gerald and Ruth. We're talking about conquering your jealousy. It's the month of love, you know, and a lot of things happen in this particular month just because people put so much emphasis on it. So they're very conscious about how their partners treat them or do not treat them, or how their friends' partners treat their friends, and all. So everybody's antennas are very high. We're talking today about, conquering your jealousy, and we agreed, or rather I had, that there is positive and there's negative jealousy.
Yes, yes. I was actually to answer your question on that before we went on the break.
Right.
I was watching episodes of Surviving R. Kelly,
Okay.
and I was listening to some of the testimonies where the ladies were saying they were not allowed to even look at any gentleman. You walk into the studio and there's a man, you look down. Someone tries talking to you, no talking. That is completely negative. Sometimes we look at the
Is it
negative.
jealousy that is control,
It's both, because the only reason why I would want control over you is because I'm jealous when someone else, when I feel like someone else will be able to give you what I
Okay,
can't, then I
okay.
have to control you because I'm jealous. And so more often than not, we actually feel that negativity will only be shown when there's physical abuse. Sometimes there's so much emotional damage and psychological damage that the physical begins just to appear as as an aftermath. But most of the time there's so much emotional abuse that is done, and because we don't see it on the outside and people are always smiling, then we assume people are okay. But sometimes jealousy can get out of hand to the point that every single week you're having an argument because your partner is jealous. When you're at work, you don't concentrate because every single morning you're arguing about things that just aren't there.
And before we took the break, and I asked that, we talked about the thing of, testing people, and you brought up that in the positive light. And I asked, what about those people who are bullies? They're people who, growing up, they just loved making people, make their sibling cry, hide a toy, make the other person feel bad, lie to them that daddy's upset with you and see that kind of a reaction or something. And so they get into this relationship with you, and for games, for no absolute reason, just for games. So they keep on talking about, I met somebody. Just because they used to, they grew up as bullies, in a sense. So they want you to feel jealous. But then the deeper root to it is that they're actually bullies. That kind of emotional thing that you're talking about, is that healthy? Is that healthy for this person?
Even for bullies, they always have a soft spot. They always have a soft spot. And most of the time we realize that bullies are actually very soft on the inside. Very, very soft. All you need is something very small and it triggers them. And they are completely a mess. They're melting. And so you find that sometimes they tend to, if they really, really love this person and they've invested a lot of emotions in the person, the minute this person even seems to be detaching themselves, then they start to readjust and compromise. What we were talking about earlier on, they start to compromise some of those habits. But on the other side, on the flip side of it, most of the natural bullies tend to find partners that have got thick skin, So they would probably tell their partner, okay, so I met this lady Janet, and Janet was ABCD, and the partner would be like, oh, I also met Sam. Oh my goodness, he was a snack, So you find that
Is that even a
the
relationship?
relationship becomes very unhealthy because there's some sort of competition within them, and so whoever is the bigger person in the relationship will then come down, and the other person will then come down. And most of the time, it's the bully who's got a soft spot, who will be like, hey, hapa nitawachwa. I need to calm down. I need to come back to the level where we found each other, And so that neutralizes them. It's the same way we have people who are very hot-tempered, but they find a partner who can sober them down. It works in all situations. Whether you're hot-tempered, whether you're a natural bully, whether you're an introvert, you will always have a partner who sort of regulates whatever it is that.
And that is what we call love. Love is, it's one of these things that help you to be able to understand each other, understand their weaknesses, and then accept to live with them, and also adjust to where you can. Both parties have to adjust, like we said, but we don't need to prank. There's something I said about pranking and setting up for people. If you're jealous, if you are jealous and then you go ahead and play this part of wanting to find out more, you might end up actually proving to them what they wanted. You might end up creating that road that they were looking for. Probably I was looking for a way I could leave you, but I did not find until this moment when you did a setup, and then after you tell me the truth, I blow it up and then I change everything towards you, and then that becomes my stronghold.
But let's take it further into the social media aspect. You know, so you've got this partner who doesn't like your stuff, doesn't comment on your stuff, is not moved by your stuff. Then you've got all these other friends, colleagues, friends, fraternity, who are always coming on to, you put up something on Instagram, and they come in, they do their comments. You put up something on Facebook, they come in and put their comments. This guy doesn't like anything. But then he will be reading the comments and then begin to ask questions. Who is Gerald? Why is he comfortable? Why is he comfortable
I
talking to
I get it.
I think that is a major insecurity, and because of how
It's not jealousy?
no, it's an insecurity that makes him jealous.
Okay.
How I know myself, I would probably be like, why don't you go comment and ask him? Why don't you go and hear him
Are you
out?
serious?
Yes, I would.
Why should your guy
Yes, I
come
would.
and ask somebody
And
else?
ask questions on your social media. Ask,
But people do that. You know, the minute
Won't he
I tell
look
him
so immature?
no. The minute I tell him that, he might not necessarily go to his comment section and be like, why are you here commenting on my girl's photo? He'd probably be like, hey baby, you're looking very nice. And he's already told people, hey, that's my girl. Leave her alone. He's not necessarily come to you and told you, you need to you need to go back.
Personally, I wouldn't want you actually to tell me, hey baby, you look so nice in a post that is
Then why do
job
you have
related.
a problem? No, it's not. It might not be job related because
Yes.
people put very few job related posts
Yes.
online. But whatever it is, there's a way you can comment that will tell people, this is your person. I am supporting her.
What
and
if the other guys do not read the other comments? I mean, this person just comes in because they're guys who are bold.
Yes.
The guys who I've seen people who post stuff on my wife's picture. I mean, my wife, right? She's married. I've seen people who are drooling over
Yes,
there.
and they know. In fact, when you start telling people this is my man, this is now when they start coming. Some
No.
people are bullied naturally, like you say.
You see the fact that you have commented on it, it makes me feel nice as your partner, because then you're paying attention to it, and I know you are very secure about me. But also for you, it makes you feel better because you think people are going to see it, even though they don't see it. Human psychology, you'll always be like, okay, now I've probably put a hold on to it, or I've probably told people that this is my property, this is my person, we are in a relationship together. But even though people don't read it, it makes both of you feel better, and that brings sanity. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a reality. Sometimes you have to live in a fairy tale for the sake of peace. And yeah, and I just wanted to add on to what you said. I once dated someone who was not on Facebook, but was very, very, he was very active on Instagram. And so because I'm the opposite, I'm more active on Facebook than I am on Instagram, I would always be talking, I'm posting, he's not commenting, he's not saying anything because he's not on Facebook. And so if someone posts something on my wall, or someone comments, and I would want him to see, I have to take a screenshot and then send it to him. And so I got to understand why he doesn't have a Facebook account, why he's not active. And he got to understand I can't keep up with Instagram. It's too much for me. I don't understand it. And so sometimes we had to sit and, we'd have a conversation about what's going on. So that then creates the sort of peace. We are both in some sort of fairy tale because we've chosen to understand why the other person is not active on that platform and how to live with it. It creates, sometimes a fairy tale brings peace and sanity in a relationship.
Myself, in response to that question, is I think if your relationship has anything jealous coming from social media, you should stop it. You should stop that jealous completely. It's not real. Anything that comes from social media, if you bank it in your real life, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have problems.
But Gerald, some of the people on social media, for example, maybe people this person has known in the past. It may be a very, not a very real platform, but then it also has some real people. You may have somebody that you dated in high school or in college. They never had your contact until they stumble. They find you commenting on a friend's page or something, then they reconnect with you. Then they come in. Is it safe to ignore everything on social media?
Yes, because yeah, it is okay because, like I usually say, there is social media, but do not bring jealousy in this, because if you apply your jealousy in social media, you're going actually to pick all the wrong things. They have connected. Even you can connect with a friend that you used to know before. It doesn't mean because you have connected, it doesn't mean because you have connected you're going to now start dating.
Ruth, help
and it doesn't mean
Gerald.
if they meet you, it doesn't mean
Just
if,
help Gerald.
does it mean if I meet you today and we were in school together, I definitely have to
Okay,
date
let me
you?
talk about an ex.
Well,
Let me
no,
talk
but-
about an ex.
Yes.
Let me talk about an ex. So you're in this relationship with
Yes.
somebody. You're having issues at that point. Then somehow you've reconnected with your ex on social media. Then they're either or the two of you are liking each other's photos a lot. Is that solid ground for somebody to feel like
Jealous, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is. So why are you saying then that it's not
No,
safe?
no, but you see,
You-
this
you
is an
see
ex.
that it's
Now,
safe.
anything to do with an ex,
Sometimes it's not an ex. Sometimes it is someone that you know how you probably sometimes look at someone and you're like, well, he's polished or she's polished. She's got this. You this person has got attributes that you feel would make a good partner.
Right.
There are times you probably have a conversation and look at someone and you feel those attributes as a human being. And so when you start connecting to a dangerous level and you are with a partner, then your partner is warranted to feel jealous. They
Right.
are. And so I think if your partner is jealous because if your partner is jealous reasonably because of things they're seeing on social media, and it is because you're also entertaining it, then it is okay and it is right for them to feel jealous. It
Yes.
is now up to you to now actually make them not jealous anymore.
all right, let's talk about, so if I am jealous, because you're talking about conquering our jealousy.
Yes.
I am jealous. I may have valid reasons, probably what I see on social media. Some people, for some reason, it's the partner's fun behavior. You pick some calls, late in the night, you go out. You talk out there, you come back in. It's everything around the phone is so secretive. And then they begin to feel there must be something going on. So they don't know. And then they stumble probably into something. Whatever the case is, how are they supposed to go about it? In the case of the social media, for example, am I supposed to inbox Gerald and say, I want you to stay away from Ruth?
That's
No.
dangerous.
dangerous. You don't
You're
do
asking
that.
for trouble.
You don't do that. But when it is a case of X, like I said before, when it is a case of X, you just approach your spouse and tell them, I'm not comfortable with you talking with your exes. And in fact, this is common sense. You should not be told that when your ex has come, you are in a relationship, you should choose when you want to go, or if you want to go back to the ex or stay with me. Because I don't want to be a side
But
a side
sometimes
guy
it's what
in my
Ruth
own
was talking about.
relationship.
Sometimes you're not paying attention to this person.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not paying attention. Or your relationship is on a rough patch. And there's a way, somehow, when trouble comes, people tend to go towards what is familiar. And then that other person is available. And they know where to press. They know the buttons because they've related with you. They know the kind of things that trigger your excitement. Even if you're not trying to get into a relationship, but this person may be enjoying this attention. So I don't think you can say that it is common sense. It's
What's
some
common sense is not
It's
so
not
common.
common.
So I think if my partner makes me jealous because of some conversation they're having on social media, then it's up to my partner to handle it. I would not expect my partner to handle my issue for me, such an issue for me, There are things that you need to handle individually on behalf of your relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, then you tend to set a foundation for people to disrespect your partner. Because people will always know if you want to get to him, then go for his partner. And so you're making your partner, one, an easy target, and you're making your partner lose respect in your circle's eyes. So you need to be very careful with how you deal with your jealousy and how you conquer it. And most of the time, it is up to you to deal with it. But sometimes it's out of your control, and you need to talk to your spouse about it, because sometimes jealousy could be what we see our friends doing. Because but they say birds of the same feather
flock together.
Yeah. So you could be seeing your friends, they're getting lunch delivered every day in the office. You have to go and look for somewhere to buy fries or rice or whatever, or carry something from home, and you have a man who is capable of doing it. There is nothing wrong with telling him, hey, I would not mind if you don't need to tell them directly, but create an environment where they see it for themselves. And I mean, if you're in a relationship, then your
That's
partner knows
dangerous.
what you like. No, it's not dangerous, because you're simply telling your partner, hey, this is what I like. And there's nothing wrong with telling your partner.
But you're
what you like.
copying other people's life.
You're not copying other people's life.
That is not your life. Your life is not about dropping lunch. Maybe I do not drop lunch to you, but I send you money to go and buy lunch.
Well, you see, that is different.
The guy who is dropping lunch there is an idler. He doesn't have a job like mine.
That is
See,
different.
he has all the time. Yes,
That's an assumption.
But that is why I say.
But I'm saying, if it's the case,
you have to
you
carry.
don't, because again, you're making me to live like that man and compete with him.
Probably, you know, for one person it may be gifts that they bring. For another person, it's something else.
Yeah.
So when you are going to have your partner do something, well, I think also, I believe, communicate. If you like it, communicate it. Whether it is copied or whatever, you know, I may see you in a good shirt, then I want to look for that shirt. So I don't think that learning from other people is a problem. The thing is just communicate it.
Yeah.
And if the other person cannot do it, then I shouldn't put them under pressure to do it and be the other person, you know. Talk about the role of personalities in the whole of this thing of jealousy and stuff. Talk about the role of personalities.
Well, our personalities have a huge role. If anything, I think they play the biggest role when it comes to jealousy in relationships. And this is because most of the time, what makes us jealous is as a result of our personality. And how we handle the jealousy is also as a result of our personality. So if I'm hot-tempered, I walk into a restaurant, probably you had told me you're traveling, and I walk into a hotel and I see you at the reception booking a room. Maybe this being the love month, maybe you're booking it for us, but because I'm hot-tempered and I am irrational, you know, I probably make rash decisions before thinking about them. I will walk into where you are and I will cause chaos, and then later on sit back and be like, oh my goodness, I did not even find out why he was there, you know. And so most of the time our personalities play a really big role when it comes to how we handle it. And if you know you are hot-tempered, then you need to think before you even approach your partner, because you might approach them wrongly and ruin everything. At the same time, if you know you're a bit slow in responding, you need to be a bit hasty, because sometimes we let things go too far. Sometimes we're sitting back waiting, like, okay, let me give him another 2 or 3 weeks, let me see how he or she changes or how he or she behaves, and then I can see what to do next. So sometimes we take too long to respond, maybe because our personalities, we're just not as fast as we should be, and so they play. I feel like our personalities play a big role. So before you approach someone when you're jealous, or before you do something when you're jealous or feel jealous, you need to look at yourself internally.
There are those ones who, when they like, I assume that my girl is paying attention to somebody or is entertaining attention from somebody else, they go quiet. So they're not talking. They don't tell you anything. They're jealous. They're feeling bad. Sometimes it's even just a compliment that you made. You went out and there's the way she related with somebody. It could have been an office party or something over the holidays, December or something. And then so how these people talked, they laughed, you know, and that doesn't happen in their relationship. This guy's a bit free or something. And so they feel jealous. So the personality thing again. So they withdraw. They're quiet. So now we've been going through the whole of January. The girl is texting. The guy is always quiet. Everything seems like it is dead. What would you say to that kind of a person, Gerald?
Silence is the best weapon. So it's
Are you for real?
yes, silence is
No.
the best weapon. No, listen.
Weapon to end
just
the relationship.
yeah,
Yes.
but
If you
yeah,
want to end the
yes,
relationship, then
because
it's a good
again,
weapon.
after you found out
But
they did that, and then you decided to keep quiet, it means you're using that as a weapon first of all.
I'm not talking about finding out. I'm talking about, you see, you and Ruth are going out. You come into a function like this. Then she meets somebody she knows or she's open with. They relate a bit more freely. So you're upset about that, but you're not talking about it. Then from that point, this person can, they notice that their partner has withdrawn.
I think you should
and
confront the
again
person
and
because
again talking about it again might have issues. Remember, you might talk about it and she will be like, "Hi, what's the problem
no,
if I have?"
communication
Myself,
is the key
I've
in
been
all
in such a
relationships.
situation before, and talking about it because this is what I used to believe, and this is what I've been brought up to know. Talking is the best way to solve problems.
Exactly.
When you speak it out, people will understand you.
Yes.
But in today's world, you start telling a girl, I don't like the way you're talking with that girl. She's like, what's the problem? I'm only talking with I can't have friends. You think you want to mean I can't have friends? I can't meet people and
And
talk
that
to
is
them.
why
And then you
you
look
need to
so
know your
stupid,
partner.
and you look so jealous and so stupid that you don't want to say another word until that meeting is over. Now that is what Pastor Chris is talking about, keeping quiet. You decide to keep quiet because if you raise, there are girls who are.
Does that really solve the problem?
If
Did not
if you're
solve
not
the
able to
problem,
talk to your
but it
partner
was
about
able.
issues, then are you really meant to be together?
No,
Because
see,
you will be having a crisis in that relationship and you will never talk about
you'll
it
never talk
until
about
it becomes
but
too late.
you cannot. You may choose not to talk about it there because you will go telling her in front of that guy
Of
that
course not there.
I'm not happy.
You
Then
need to use wisdom.
you have to go out and go solve from another corner, then come back, and the guy is noticing. There's a chance for me. They are arguing. Now the guy becomes the good one, and then you become the bad one in the same event.
But you see, in
You
Pastor
understand?
Chris's example, whereby the man has, this happened in December,
Yes.
we're in February. The man has been quiet throughout January, okay?
Yeah.
And he has never talked about it. You don't know what, in fact, you don't even know what's
If
wrong.
he
You don't
did
know
not
why
talk about it.
the girl or the man is quiet.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong with confronting the person and finding out, hey, did I do something wrong?
Did you know some girls cannot be confronted, and even some men? You cannot confront them. You cannot ask. The
So
reason
what
why
would
you have
you
chosen
advise?
you have chosen to keep quiet because this is the best weapon that you could use at that time.
No,
It
because
is
you
the
hurt
best
me and
thing.
you didn't realize.
No, because you are not this person. I can tell. I start speaking by the time I go to the third word. I say word number one, word number two. Before the sentence progresses, you are there and you have actually finished and put a full stop. How do we finish it with you?
All right. Of course, we cannot even finish this discussion. Well, I agree that, you see, jealousy is something that is natural, but then you've got to learn how, just like with other emotions, you just need to learn how to handle it. And it's supposed to be used to build your relationship, not to destroy it. So if you feel something about what your partner is doing, you may not have to talk about it right now. Again, you've got to understand your partner, how they relate to things like conflict or confrontation. But you must always find a way to communicate because you want to enhance your relationship. So don't give the silent treatment. Don't make rash judgments based on perceptions. Don't hurt your partner. Don't bully them just because you're trying to see whether they love you or not. So you want to make them jealous. You know, you love somebody, you want to go out there and protect them. Well, that's all the time that I've had from right here. We were coming to you from Westwood Hotel, and we're so grateful that they've allowed us to come and just do this from over here. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring the other people. Come and talk about your jealousy stuff over here. Have dates and have a hangout over here. Crystal Okusa is coming up next, so don't go anywhere. Keep it right here on Life and Style.